Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of syntax, the grammar in your head. This is Angel Sarabia, and let's get started. So, first of all, we're going to define what is syntax. So, syntax is essentially the set of rules that dictates how we arrange words to form meaningful phrases and sentences. Think of it as the blueprint of a sentence. So, we have an example over here, and this is a simple example. It says, the cat chases the mouse. So, we have the subject, which is the cat, we have a verb, which is chases, and we have an object, the mouse. So that's pretty much the main idea. But now let's take a look. Why syntax is so important? So why understanding syntax is so important? Well, it's crucial for interpreting the meaning of sentences. Our brains automatically try to find a structure that makes sense. Let's look at the example from the beginning of our chapter. Time flies like an arrow, and fruit flies like a banana. Let's remember these two phrases or these two sentences. So if you read them, it seems like, yeah, it's easy. Time flies like an arrow. But the second sentence says, fruit flies like a banana. Let's take a look. Now we're gonna check how syntax help us understand. So let's break down why syntax is so important using our example. So time flies like an arrow makes sense because we understand time as a noun, right? So something and flies as a verb. So time flies like an arrow, the first example. But on the other hand, in fruit flies like a banana, fruit flies it's noun. I mean, they are insects, and like is the verb expressing preference. So, syntax provides these clues, allowing us to accurately interpret this structure and therefore the meaning of the sentences. So, on the first one, time flies, we're talking about time as a noun and flies as a verb. And the second example, fruit flies, one noun, and like it's the verb like. Okay. Now let's take a look here. Linguistics don't just describe sentences. They try to find the hidden rules we all know that allow us to create an endless number of sentences. This is called generative grammar. It's like having a recipe that lets you cook many different dishes, not just one. So we have the rules. For example, we have the sentence. A sentence is equal to a subject plus a verb. And sometimes we need an object. Sometimes we don't know. That's why it's in parentheses, it's in brackets. So the first sentence says here, the bird sings. So we have a subject, which is the bird, and we have a verb, which is sings. Then we have the dog chases the ball. The subject is the dog, right? Chases is the verb, and the object is the ball. The dog chases the ball. And finally, we have a sentence that says, she reads. So we have a subject and we also have a verb. Let's move on. So then we have deep and surface structure. So sentences can have different forms, but the same underlying meaning. Take these two sentences. Charlie broke the window, and the window was broken by Charlie. The first is active, focusing on the subject, which is Charlie. The second is passive, focusing on the window, which is the object. So these different forms are called surface structure. Keep that in mind. And let's remember that sentence. Now, these sentences, Charlie broke the window and the window was broken by Charlie, have different surface structures, as we saw. However, they share the same deep structure. the basic idea that someone broke something. The grammar of language must show how this single deep structure can be expressed in various surface structures. That means we need to have an agent or a subject, we need to have the action, and then we need to have a subject, an object, sorry. So Charlie, which is the agent, someone, broke, which is the action, and something, which is the window, which is the object, right? Now, let's take a look about these things. Building structure. So we're going to check a little bit more rules. So linguistics use phrase structures rules to describe how we build sentences. These rules break down a sentence into its main parts. For example, a simple rule is a sentence, which is stands the letter S, is made up of a noun phrase, stands for NP. So, and a verb phrase, which is VP. So a sentence is made up of a noun phrase plus the verb phrase, NP plus VP. So remember that NP or noun phrase is the subject, all right? The subject part of the sentence. And the verb phrase is the action part. So we have an example over here. The cat said, this is a sentence. And we have the NP, the noun phrase, the cat, and the VP sat. All right, easy. So we can make more detailed rules. For example, a noun phrase can be made up of an article like the or a, and a noun like cat. So another rule is NP, which is noun phrase. It's made up of an article, which is a, and then the noun, which is dog in this case. So we can have the dog, the cat, an apple, or something. So remember, this is how can we expand the rules. Now, let's move up to this part. So we can use tree diagrams. So we can use these tree diagrams to visualize the structure of a sentence. It's like a family tree for words. The sentence is at the top, and it branches down into its parts, following the phrase structure rules. All right. So you can see here we have the sentence, NP, which stands for noun phrase. It's made up of an article, which is the. Then we have the noun, which is cat, and then are next to the VP, which is the verb phrase, which has a verb, which is sat, right? So that's why it's really important. So tree diagrams show how sentences follow the phrase structure rules. They give us a clear picture of the underlying structure of a sentence, helping us understand how all parts fit together, right? Excellent. So why syntax matters? So just to wrap up, syntax is the study of how we structure sentence using rules like phrase structure rules. These rules help us create and understand the meaning of sentences, and we can visualize this structure using tools like tree diagrams. Syntax is essential for effective communication and understanding how language works. All right. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have learned something and understand it. So bye for now.